Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, I have said this several times on this channel, but I feel the need to say it again. Will the last person to leave the Nigerian state please switch the lights off, because that country is done. So guys, I bring you this. DSS rearrest detain Sowore Bakare after filing fresh charges. So that's the new headline. DSS rearrest detains Sowore and Bakare after filing fresh charges. So now let's see now what manner of vulgarity we're being entertained with this time around. The Department of State Services has rearrested and detained activists Omoyele Sowore and Olawale Bakare, popularly known as Mandates. The two men were rearrested by operatives of the secret police on Friday, hours after they were released on bail on Thursday evening. They were standing trial at the Federal High Court Abuja on Friday in a case brought against them by the Nigerian government when DSS operatives stormed the place and disrupted proceedings, leading to hours of standoff and tension around the place. Lawyer to the activist, Femi Falana, SAN, confirmed the development to reporters, saying that they had not been furnished with the new charges the DSS had brought against Sowore and Bakare. So now guys, of course, yesterday we were celebrating that this guy has now been forced out of the gulag by the will of the Nigerian people and by the sagacity, but alas, Malam Buhari will not be denied. We all know how this guy operates, and I have raised alarm severally anytime that I am doing Sowore videos that the chances of this guy spending Christmas with his family are between slim and none. And I happily ate my words yesterday when I joined in the celebration of this guy being released, but alas, 24 hours. So we go on to public reactions to see how people are responding to this, because this is just something now that is now just is getting beyond the joke now within the Nigerian state. So now let's just go to some reactions, see how the people of Nigeria are responding to this. So let's go to a different narrative and we pick it up from here. Sowore versus DSS. Deji Adeyanju advises Buhari to suspend constitution, declare full military regime. So that is the Adeyanju's headline, and I completely agree with the Adeyanju on this one. But really, I don't agree with him that Malam Buhari necessarily has to suspend the constitution. We're already in a military regime, and the military takeover started from 2015, and we've been effectively being ruled by decrees in that country since, because of course there have been several court orders that these people just wave aside and say, get out of my face. So really, we're in a military regime already. But let's see what Deji has to say. Convener of Concerned Nigerians, Deji Adeyanju, on Friday charged President Muhammadu Buhari to suspend the country's constitution and disband the National Assembly. Speaking recently, Adeyanju also charged Buhari to abrogate the judiciary and transform into a military head of state because he is a tyrant. He was reacting after operatives of the Department of State Services DSS invaded the courtroom of an Abuja Federal High Court, chased away lawyers before rearresting Sowore, convener of Revolution Now movement. Adeyanju said, "This is tyranny taken too far. We are now in a full-blown military regime. Buhari should suspend the constitution, disband the National Assembly, abrogate the judiciary, and come out fully as a military head of state." You saw the way they stormed the courtroom like gangsters, chased away lawyers and took him away. Buhari is a tyrant. He has no human sympathy. This is coming less than a day after he was released by the DSS after an Abuja Federal High Court ordered for his release within 24 hours. Justice Ijoma Ojukwu also ordered the DSS to pay the sum of 100,000 naira to Sowore for refusing to release him on bail despite 2 court orders to that effect. So now this is now what the Adeyanju has to say, but of course the whole of the country is enraged by this latest development. So we go on to further reaction, and here is a new headline. Sowore C0RM, that is SE ARP, so ST0RM, Sowore, ST0RM reacts as DSS disrupts court process, chases lawyers, rearrest activists. So that is the latest headline in this three-part narrative that I'm bringing you. So the headline again, Sowore, ST0RM reacts as a DSS disrupts court process, chases lawyers, rearrest activists. So now let's see now what is going on with this particular reaction. So this is a reaction now from a different organization. Of course, we've had Deji Adeyanju just now. So now let's see now what these people have to say. Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, ST0RM, has condemned the rearrest of Omoyele Sowore, convener of Revolution Now movement. It had been reported that the DSS operatives on Friday chased out lawyers from the courtroom and attacked journalists, after which they rearrested Sowore. Following the invasion of the courtroom, the trial judge, Justice Ijoma Ojukwu, adjourned the matter till February 11, 12, and 13 for definite hearing. They had earlier attempted to rearrest Sowore, but were prevented by those around. This is coming less than a day after Sowore was released by the DSS after an Abuja High Court ordered for his release within 24 hours. Reacting on Twitter, ST0RM, that is SERAP, wrote, "We strongly condemn the violent rearrest of Sowore and Bakare inside the Federal High Court Abuja courtroom just hours after they were granted bail and released by the SSS. ST0RM's representatives in court reported that the judge had to quickly take cover as the officials of the SSS entered the courtroom and ill-treated Sowore and Bakare. This is the type of things routinely witnessed in authoritarian states. Sowore and Bakare's rearrest is yet another example of the government of President Muhammadu Buhari's total contempt for human rights, the rule of law, and the independence and integrity of the judiciary. The Nigerian authorities should immediately free Sowore and Bakare, respect the sanctity and integrity of our judicial system, and ensure full accountability for those who committed the appalling abuses." So now this is now yet another response, but of course this really is just whistling in the wind. Malam Buhari will do as he wills because this guy has that arrogance of ignorance, and these are the sort of the worst people on this planet. It is not a bad thing for somebody not to be clever, and it's not necessarily a good thing for somebody to be clever, and it is not even anything for somebody to be neither clever or not clever. But what is the thing really is for you to understand what your person is and what your capacity is. So Malam Buhari is one of those people in life who attributes himself virtues that are not vested within his being. This guy thinks that he's some superstar, some super brain, some Dan One, some mafia soul, some whatever it is. Really, these things do not manifest in his being. This is just some parochial, middle of the road elderly man from Daura, some ghost town in the northern parts of Nigeria. This is not anybody of any substance. We're not talking about Einstein here. We're not talking Obafemi Awolowo. We're not talking Zeke. We're not talking Nkrumah. We're not talking Mark Zuckerberg. We're not talking of anybody of any note. We're not talking the guy behind Alibaba. We're not talking of a super brain or a super anything. This is just some middle of the road poorly educated, parochial, elderly man who knows nothing. He was foisted on the Nigerian state, of course, by Bola Tinubu. So a lot of this goings on should be reported to the doors of Bola Tinubu as well, who is the underpin that brought this guy into being. And now, of course, he has now created a demon that is now out of his control, because Bola Tinubu, of course, now has no control over Malam Buhari anymore. And Malam Buhari now is in the vice grips of the Jamja weeds, the extremists, the Fulanization agenda and brutality. Because you have to understand that Malam Buhari is a man in his 80s. So he is of the view that he can just do what he likes now. What's the worst that can happen to him? He has already lived a life, you know, so there's really nothing else. There's no future ahead of him that he's looking forward to. So he might as well just do what he wills and do what is guided by the people who has influence over him, and woe betide. What is the worst that can happen to Malam Buhari at 81, 82, 83, or however old he is? So this is now what is going to be the narrative of the Nigerian state for the foreseeable now. People being held outside of the law, people being held extrajudicially, human rights, of course, being abused. In fact, there's no human rights in Nigeria anyway. We're talking about human rights being abused in Nigeria. There's no human rights in Nigeria. Is source law. Is like they used to have this thing back in the day, which is source law. It's like source law that they are now using in Nigeria now. They don't like your face, or you don't comply, you don't bow your head in the right way, and they just behead you. This is really the system that they have now in place. So I am going to finish off as I started off. Will the last person to leave the Nigerian state please switch the lights off, because that country is done. Conversations in the comment section. Sowore has been rearrested. The celebration has been cut short. They are not even allowing this guy to have Christmas with his family. So brutal is this Malam Buhari, because they want to kill the spirit of the Nigerian person so that they can carry on doing what they are doing. Is effectively what they are doing now. But what is your position? How do you read all this goings on? Come share thoughts with me in the comment section. But before you do this, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you're making of the life and travails of Omoyede Sowore in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Join in the comment section. But here I say peace.